We express gratitude today. We express joy. David said, I was glad when they said unto me, we thank you for this assembly here today, where two or more are gathered together in your name. There is a revelation of the Christ. We are grateful for that. Grateful for the people in this room that we've walked together for many, many miles. And those relationships grow sweeter as the years go by. I speak a blessing on everyone who's already in the building, those that are en route, those that are watching, those that listen to this later. Anybody that's connected with this day is blessed. We thank you for it. Amen. Please remain standing. Let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, presence of divine love and light that lives within us and within all of life, hallowed be thy name. We invoke the powerful creative nature of all that is sacred and holy. Thy kingdom come. We embrace the healing essence that is the kingdom of heaven within us. Thy will be done. We accept our greatest good as we align with our divine nature, on earth as it is in heaven, knowing that the affairs of our lives reflect our evolving consciousness. Give us this day our daily bread. Each day we receive great blessings from within and throughout all the activities of our lives. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We accept the divine nature of all things and all people, including ourselves, as we move away from judgment and toward greater awareness of divine presence. And lead us not into temptation. We shall be vigilant in expressing and experiencing the oneness with all life. But deliver us from evil as we are learning to live without fault-finding and suffering. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. For we accept the consciousness of divine perfection with all its power and glory right here, right now, and forever. Amen. And so it is. Tell the person next to you, there's nobody I'd rather sit next to today than you. Hey, come in. So glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
You remember my friend Robin? Hey, bud.
How you doing?
Hey, come in. And then y'all may be seated. Welcome. Glad that you all are here, and at least it was easier to find parking today because they weren't playing soccer. So there's the upside to that. Glad to have my friend Robin. We've been friends since elementary school, and we really became good. When we moved back to Atlanta, we were both in 7th grade. That's when we really became good friends. I'm taking her to high tea today. Jealous? There's a place over here that's in the neighborhood where we both lived that they serve tea, and we had said a long time ago, I said, I want to go to that Dr. Bombay's underwater tea party, and didn't realize they had moved locations. So we're still going, but now they're over at Grant Park, and I got to tell you, you got to want to find this. Fortunately for us, I drove over there this week. I'm like, where the heck is this place? It's like I'm being, when GPS keeps saying, you have arrived at your destination. I'm like, no, I haven't, GPS. And so finally I go into this sort of nondescript place, and I said, do you know what? I said, I know it's only open on the weekends. I said, you know what Dr. Bombay's underwater tea party? She says, yeah, it meets here, but they're only on the weekends. I said, oh, okay. So she showed me where it is. It's cool. And I didn't know Ken was going to be here today, so we've included him. Ken's crashing our party. And I told him, I said, you're eating bread today. We're eating bread because I bought you some real expensive little sandwiches and scones, and you're going to eat them today. We had his shower. He's about to have a grandson in July, right? And so we had Kinley and Brandon's baby shower yesterday, and that was real sweet. There she is. He asked permission if he could put his hand there. So he's excited about that, and that's his other son Nathan on the end there, and beautiful place out there in the boonies. I'm not sure exactly where we were. It was a lot of winding roads in here, but it was beautiful. Yeah, that's like it's a trout fishery that they where they have a venue, and those are people up there fishing on it. But yeah, it was good, beautiful day, and I'm flying. Speed agreement that my plane will take off and land safely this week, 'cause I'm going to Santa Fe for Sophia's graduation, and I'm just believing that the plane will not lose contact with the tower. Just a minor request. Come in.
I flew out of Newark on Monday night, so.
Say what?
I flew out of Newark airport. The airport.
Did you really? Hey y'all, come in. Hey.
It was fine.
Because Newark's the one, I was about to make a joke about Newark. I love the Newark airport. I've flown out there lots of times, but the devil's been all up in the Newark airport.
My flight was delayed. I took an early flight and got here safely.
That wasn't one of the days they lost contact with the kids.
They lost power on Sunday morning at 3 a.m. Left on Monday afternoon.
And then they had some issue with the trains getting to the airport. The train. Oh, it was a train strike. That's what it was.
Well, my daughter was supposed to fly out of Newark to D.C. Her flight got delayed. She decided to take Amtrak. Well, that train
Oh,
delayed
wow.
prior. It didn't get to D.C. till
Oh my gosh. That's like when you're in the checkout line and it's going too long and you get in the other checkout line and you're like, I should have stayed in the first one, because, all the people that you thought you were beating, they're like, you see them pulling out of the parking lot. Wow. No, everything will be fine. Her graduation is Thursday night, so I'm flying. I'm going to fly out the day before because I don't want to run the risk of there being a delay and me missing the thing. And then they're having a party for her on Friday night, so I'm staying for that. And Ken's going to step up and he's going to drive. He's going to take care of my mom while I'm gone, which infuriates Jared because he doesn't understand why I can't get into that. I said, I can't make y'all do anything. Y'all are all adults, and Ken will be fine. So let's see. Our outreach this month is One EMS Unified, and we believe in that very much. And also our meditation weekend number 26 is coming up on August 2nd and 3rd in St. Simon's. I told Howie, I said, you and Jerry, would y'all please come to St. Simon's? I said, you go to New Zealand and Spain. And he said, well, we're going to Las Vegas to see. I'm like, all the more reason why. My God, I've prayed you through the Camino de Santiago till I'm exhausted. And you know how when you're emotionally connected to somebody, you feel them. And every day, I'm like, why is it? Man, why? Like, oh, because I'm connected to Howie and he's walking. I'm like, get this thing finished. Anyway, let's. I was going to do a meditation, but I want to see if I do this first. I think I'll go ahead and do this first. Tricia, I'm glad that you just got back. You went up to see your mom, right? And you flew back from. You just flew back. You didn't fly out of Newark, did you? Everything was fine. They could hear the tower. And
yeah, oh yeah. No blank screens.
And most of y'all met Lisa when she went to our last meditation weekend. Small world. She works with somebody. I was telling you about how long I've known Robin. She works with somebody that I was friends with forever ago. I guess when I first met her, she said, do you know, she said his name. I said, yes, I work with him. I mean, what are the odds? because and I think y'all, didn't you call Trisha about, because you had seen, so one of y'all, because y'all knew each other back in the day, but then one of you asked the other one.
She called me and says, "You know this guy named Swilley or something."
Funny you should ask. So, since you're here today, Lisa, I have something for you that you don't know about, because somebody in this room commissioned a painting for you. So, it's not in plastic, because I didn't think you were going to be here, but we were able to get Ken was able to get the wire on it last night. And you didn't know anything about this. That's why she asked you to come last week, and she said she's not going to be able to make it. And I should have followed my instincts, because I thought she's going to be here. And anyway, it's fine. Trisha wanted to do, you know it's Trisha. I can't tell you. She wanted something with the theme "Show Up" on it. Okay? So, as I am wont to do, I sort of expanded on it. All right? So I've done an acrostic with your name. And so there's Lisa, but what it spells out, the L is love life. The I is imagine possibilities. The S is show up, which is what she asked for. And the A is attract blessings. All right? So if you will step forward, I would like to, and you have to stand on this side, because that's why BJ thought of that. He's put the thing on you. Here, these are the colors I felt like were sort of your colors. And you know anything about this, right?
No, but I wanted one.
Was she dropping hints or?
No, but I did. I've been looking at your art, and I was like, oh, I got to talk to him. I want one of those. See what happens.
All right.
I love it.
Well, on behalf of Jim Swilley Art and your benefactors, Trisha Cunningham, I want to give you this, and we're going to take a picture. Look up at BJ, and now look at Ken.
I love it.
And there you are. That's yours.
Thank you so much. I love it. This means a lot.
I actually did too. The one of them I got halfway through, and I don't like it. So I have one that just says Lee on it.
I
Those-
just told her too that green is like really. Yeah, we were just talking about green in the car. Speaking.
Yeah, she even said that.
And I love pink.
We're talking about the law. Y'all were talking about the law of attraction the last few days, and just it was just a lot of confirmation. Confirmation's everywhere. One thing how he said to me, he said, one thing I've learned from you is the more you see it, the more you see it. Yeah. Like if you'll start noticing stuff, then you start seeing it sort of everywhere. All right. So you like? Well, that means a lot coming from you, since Danny and Gloria, you're close to having a gallery in your home.
It's right here.
Yeah. And y'all, I don't know, but y'all got quite a few pieces, and Ernie and Avery do too. How many of you have a piece of my art hanging in your home? Okay, good. Cool. That means a lot. After I'm gone, you can sell it for big bucks. Let's do a little bit meditation before we get into today, if we can, please. Let's bring the lights down. Just make yourself comfortable, both feet on the floor, into your lap. Just get your hands in a position where there's some kind of energy flow. Sit up as straight as you can. Your posture matters, your breathing matters, because it's about just being aware and being conscious, being spiritual. In the scriptures, breath and spirit are used interchangeably. We're going to breathe in through the nose and hold it, and then out through the mouth. So inhale and exhale. In nose, out mouth. Let yourself relax. You made it here today. You made it through the rain. You made it through the traffic. You're here. You're safe. You're where you're supposed to be. You're in the presence of God. You're in the presence of people who love you and are spiritually inclined. This is a good environment. You chose well. You chose the good part today. You could have been Martha in the kitchen, but you're Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus. So the good part has been chosen. He rewards those who diligently seek Him. I'm just going to be quiet for a minute. You just remain consistent in your breathing. Just keep breathing. Let your thoughts settle down. And now we're going to make some affirmations. I am well. I am wellness. I am. I am peaceful. I am peace. I am. I am focused. I am focus. I am. I am in harmony. I am harmony. I am. I am in the flow. I am the flow. I am. I am healthy. I am health. I am. I am peaceful. I am peace. I am. I am serene. I am serenity. I am. I am whole. I am wholeness. I am. Now let's do about 3 more really good breaths before we turn the lights back up. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. In. Out. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Welcome to the Metron Live podcast, coming to you from the Atlanta Theater in the historic Kirkwood neighborhood. Metron people, would you please welcome the podcast people? Welcome whenever you are listening to this. For those of you that came in late, Ernie and Avery are out of town for they're in grandparent mode today. They got graduations going on, so I had to text Avery about something. Ended up calling her, and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm just listening to Sunday's message." I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, sometimes she had a reason, and she said, sometimes I just want to hear it again." I said, "You're still listening to that guy?" I said, "Didn't I warn you about him?" She said, "I know, I didn't listen." So Avery, whenever you're watching this, thank you for all you do. Ernie too. I speak into this atmosphere and say, let there be light. We're in a series for the month of May, and the title of it is The Mind of Christ and Intention, Shaping Reality Through the Nexus of Science and Spirit. And we talk about science specifically. I mean, I've made some references to quantum physics, but I'm specifically talking about neuroscience. I used I quoted in the previous two installments Dr. Joseph Dispenza and Dr. James Doty, both of whom are neuroscientists who approach the mind from a very secular standpoint, but end up confirming things that we know in the Spirit. I want to start today with it's something that Paul said in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 23. And now in the King James Version it says, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Something about that phrase I find very compelling, the spirit of your mind. That your mind has a spirit, your mind has an attitude, your mind has an essence. In the Jonathan Mitchell New Testament, which is very wordy, but I like the way it says, and then to be continuously renewed or from time to time or progressively made young again by or in or with the spirit or attitude or breath effect of your mind or from the mind which is in you. The actual word there, renewed, it's the same word as rejuvenated. It means to become juvenile again. You know, in my generation, when somebody says he's acting like a juvenile, we thought juvenile delinquent. But juvenile just means young. And when we talk about being renewed in the spirit of your mind, in my mind, we're really talking about being born again. Because when you're born, you're not born again once. Like, you know, in Christian fundamentalism, we developed this idea that the born again experience was this unique thing. But it really, if you read what Jesus actually said to Nicodemus, it's something that happens to you over and over again. You're born again and again. And there's some things you can't see properly until you see them with new eyes. I was talking to Jonah the other day, and he is taken to being a father in such a awesome way. But he was talking about when Raphael was born, she had a little bit of jaundice. And so they said, you know, take her outside, get her a little bit of sunshine is good for her, and it'll help with it. And he said, just walking around the backyard with her and seeing her see things for the first time is so, you know, it's awesome. I said, you don't realize this right now, but you're going to rediscover the world because you've been seeing everything through old eyes, not old eyes, but mature eyes. And when you see them through those eyes, it's like being born again. When Ken and I met online, we've been together 13 years. And when we first met, I've told you this a zillion times, but I had been in a relationship for about a year, and then I'd been single for about 7 months, and I had winnowed through quite a few gentleman callers. And I'd finally gotten to a place where I wanted to say, let's save us both some time because, you know, we're not getting any younger. And when he was, I saw that he lived in Eatonton, I said, you know what? I'm not interested in long distance. I said, if I didn't have to leave Midtown, I never would. So let's don't meet, because if you meet me, you're going to fall in love with me. How could you not? I didn't say that. I thought it, but you're going to find me irresistible, and it's unfair to do to you. And I didn't say that part. But he said, well, can we at least meet? I said, all right, but you're going to have to drive here. I'm just telling you, I'm not driving out there. And so he did. And I didn't think he would like the city, but he did. And I, especially in the early days, I loved. First time he went to the Fox Theater, I took him there. First time he rode on a MARTA train. First time he went to Piedmont Park. All these places that I loved, it was awesome seeing him see it. And he'd take pictures of it, and I'm like, oh, this is great, because you love, you know, you're starting to love it like I love it. And but that's what being renewed in the spirit of your mind is. I'm going to talk about the man at Bethesda again. But I want to establish this point first. I've also used this analogy. Some of you that are in my age demographic who grew up in the metro area remember what a big deal it was when Six Flags Over Georgia opened. They opened in '67, which I would have been 9 at the time. And that year, we lived in West Georgia at the time, and they played all that summer. They played ads for Six Flags, and every time they would show it, I thought, "Oh my God, that's got to be the greatest thing in the world." And so our youth group went the first summer that it opened, and I've told you this a million times. I'm going to tell you again. Some of you haven't heard it. I was so excited. I didn't sleep. I got dressed and sat on the bed all night waiting because we were going to leave early in the morning. I didn't want to miss it. And it exceeded expectations. And, there was hardly anything there when it first opened. But, I just thought it was the most wonderful thing in the world. I loved it. Even to the point now, there's a way, how especially in summertime when it first starts raining, there's a way that asphalt smells when rain hits it. It's something about that reminds me of the way Six Flags smelled. And every time I will smell that now, I feel joy from it because it reminds. Now, as I progressed over the years, Six Flags wasn't as wonderful. When I became a parent and take my kids there, oh Lord, we would stand in line for. Christina was notorious for this. We'd stand in some 2-hour line for something, and she would get there and she'd freak out and she's not going to ride it. And I'm like, Christina, we stood in this line and there was one day, this is when Debbie and I were together, there was one day, I remember clearly, I can't believe DFAX wasn't called in to have her taken away from us because we couldn't do it one more time. I said, no, you're riding the mind bender. I have stood in this hot line for 2 hours, you're riding this thing. She's screaming and we're like forcing her. I could tell people were like, don't make her do it. I'm like, oh, she's riding it. Because we had done it so many, and she ended up loving it. I'm like, that's what I told you. If you would just get past your initial fear, you would love it. Then, as I got older, like the last 20 times I went to Six Flags, I'm like, I am not doing this again. I'm like, oh, my dear God. And, I looked at it from different, I'm looking at it like, man, they need to manage this concession better, and what's going on with their cleanup? When I was 9, I didn't see it. I mean, granted it was new, but I saw it completely differently. And then when we first got together, I think we've been a couple of times. We even took my granddaughters, and that was a sweet experience, but very different. I wasn't riding anything that made me nauseous. It was like, letting them ride things, and we're sitting there on the bench looking at it. And now, if you said, Bishop, I've got seasons passes to Six Flags. Would you like them? I'd be like, give them to somebody else. 'Cause I don't think I'm going to. For me to enjoy it now, I would have to be born again. Do you understand? Because through my 67-year-old eyes, it's like, ugh. Even if I'm driving I-20 and I see things looping around, I'm like, ugh, I can't even look. The thought of looping around and messing with your skeletal frame. What? Don't you feel the same way? It's like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'm riding that now. I'm like, oh, I can't even look. In my peripheral vision, I'm like, don't even look. It makes me nauseous. Like, dear God, look, those people are hanging upside down. Jesus, what is wrong with those people? So for me to enjoy it, I would have to be rejuvenated. And there's something about being renewed in the spirit of your mind. It's a way to see something that's familiar, but to see it in a new way. And so let me go through a couple of things I want to show you, then we'll talk about it. Dr. Dispenza says this, you cannot see the way out of a challenge if you are looking at it every day from the same level of mind, emotions, thoughts, and feelings of the past. I'm telling you, I'm living in this right now. Like even because I'm doing something that I swore I'd never do again. Moving in and taking care of a parent again. And I'm forced to look at it differently, and I am. And even last night, we came from wherever the heck we were. So I didn't even know there was a Silver Creek, Georgia, but we were there today. Don't try to go. You can't get there from here. It's it's winding roads. But so we were coming back from there, and I said, I need to go by the loft because I got to get what I'm going to wear tomorrow. So then we decided, I said, you know what? If you've got your stuff here, why don't we go ahead and, my laundry can wait, but he's got uniforms. Why don't we go and do your laundry? Because this thing I'm doing with Robin tomorrow, the reservation is not till 2 o'clock, so we might be there. And I just know it's going to push me time-wise to pick up dinner and get it to Mom. And it was one of those things where it's like everybody who had a car yesterday was driving in Atlanta. Like everybody, like the whole day was a traffic jam everywhere. And I'm used to it, but after several hours of it, you're like, is there a helicopter? Can we just get a helicopter? And I don't like to use the word dumbass, but I said it a lot because we're driving through Atlanta, and you're in like people don't know to, like, if the light's red, please don't pull into the intersection because it's going to turn. Or yellow, don't pull it because it's going to turn red in a minute, and then you're going to block. And people just kept doing it. It's like, I wanted to go, excuse me, do you not know what a yellow light is? That means it's about to turn red. Please just wait until you can go. But it was lots of that going on. So then we went to the loft, we got his laundry done, and I said, you know what, we need to go because I know what her time frame kind of is. So we were going to go to the cafeteria and pick up food that she likes, that we like. And by this time it's getting later, and I said, Ken, this place closes at 8 o'clock. We're not going to make it. And he said, well, then let's go to that Mexican restaurant we wanted to go to. I said, I know, but I'm going to have to drop her off something, because if I wait till after we eat, I'm not going to get dinner to her till like 9 o'clock. And it wasn't super stressful, but it was just a little bit stressful. And so I texted her and I said, hey, I'm sorry, long story. We were going to get you a good dinner, but I'm going to have to pick you up something. And my mother actually said, it's all good, relax, you're fine. That might not be a big deal to you, but that's a big departure from, I've been here alone all day. I haven't had anything. It was like, oh, everything's fine. And so we picked up a sandwich and dropped it off, and I said, we're going to dinner. We'll be back. I'll get you something better tomorrow night. We'll watch the end of American Idol. And she's like, all good. This morning I said, do I need to pick you up something for lunch before we leave? She said, no, I've got enough from last night. I'm like, okay. That seems like a small thing. I've been born again. Well, and that is true. You're exactly right. You know how Wayne died, if you didn't hear what, she had a mask on, she said, your mom's been born again too. I said, exactly. When you're in a relationship, this is how you fix codependent relationships, because when you start seeing it differently, the other person starts seeing it differently. Or otherwise you get locked into this thing where here's where I say this and you say that, and I say this and you say that. We ought to know by now. We've looped around Sinai so many times. But yes, Wayne Dyer said when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Dr. Doty even says when you change the way you look at the world way the world looks at you changes. And that is true. Like I've noticed when my attitude is great and I feel a certain way, everywhere I go to do business, they respond to me that way. I'm never impolite. I'm never a diva. But sometimes I walk into a place and the person behind the counter is a little bit snooty or ill-tempered, and I've started now thinking, am I sending out, maybe because I'm in a hurry, I'm sending out a vibe that I'm difficult to work with, and I'm not. Like even the other day, we went into AT&T store to get new screen protectors, and There was quite a few people in front of us, and it wasn't like it was life and death. We could have waited. But one of the guys came over and shook my hand, and he said, "Thanks for coming in. I'm with several people, but I'll be with you soon." He ended up not even waiting on us, but the other guy who did, I said, "Can I just tell you something about your service?" That means the world to just be seen. What I hate is when you go into a place and you've been standing